The stars were quiet. Far from any planet, a small human convoy moved slowly through space. It was not a war fleet. These ships had no weapons. They carried doctors, engineers, food, water, and medicine. The mission was clear: help alien refugees who had lost their homes in a war they didn't start. The lead ship was called Hopebringer. It had a soft white light around it, showing peace. Its captain, Commander Tessa Cole, looked out from the bridge window. She had led many missions before, but this one felt special. "We'll reach the refugee station in 11 hours, her pilot said. Tessa nodded. "Good. Let's make sure everything stays quiet." The crew moved calmly. Everyone believed this was a safe trip. The Galactic Council had agreed that no one would attack peace convoys. It was a rule in the stars. Even enemies respected it. The ship passed a large asteroid field. The pilot joked, "Nothing like a rock garden to make things exciting." Everyone laughed. They didn't know it would be the last time. At Earth's Space Command, the mission was being watched closely. It was routine. Peace convoys were always tracked. A group of officers sat in a dark room, watching green dots move across a screen. Then one dot disappeared. At first, they thought it was a glitch. The screen blinked. Then another dot vanished. The officer in charge frowned. "Try to reach them. Send a ping." No answer. "Try again." Still nothing. Then all signals went dead. The room went silent. "Send word to Earth Command," the officer said. "The convoy is missing." Back in deep space, something horrible had happened. No one had seen the enemy ships coming. They had hidden behind the asteroids. As soon as Hopebringer passed, they opened fire. Laser beams hit the engines. Explosions rocked the ship. Crew members screamed as fire spread across the lower decks. Tessa grabbed the radio. "Mayday! Mayday! This is Hopebringer. We're under attack. We are not armed. I repeat, we are not armed." But the message didn't reach Earth. The attackers had jammed the signal. In the chaos, one small escape pod launched from the burning ship. Inside was a young engineer named Eli Hart. His face was burned. His hands shook as he tried to keep the pod steady. Behind him, Hopebringer exploded in silence. Fire spread across space like a flower of death. Eli cried, but there was no sound in space, just the blinking lights of the pod and the deep, endless dark. 3 days passed. At Earth's moon colony station, workers were shocked when an old, damaged pod crashed near the landing bay. Security teams rushed over. They found Eli inside, half-conscious, blood on his face. His oxygen was almost gone. They took him to the medical bay. He woke up once, grabbed the nurse's arm, and whispered. They fired first. Then he passed out. The message reached Earth Command quickly. Now they knew this was no glitch. The peace convoy had been attacked. But by who? No one claimed the attack. No alien group sent a message. The Galactic Council had said the area was safe. So who broke the rules? General Marcus Rain stood in the war room. He looked at the broken pod. He looked at the quiet stars outside the window. He said nothing, but deep inside something had changed. This was not just an attack. This was a warning. Earth had tried to help. They had sent healers, not fighters, and someone had killed them for it. The news spread quickly. On Earth, people lit candles for the lost crew. In human colonies across space, workers, miners, and scientists watched the reports with growing anger. "Why would anyone attack a peace ship?" one woman asked. "We weren't even at war," said another. At the same time, alien governments stayed quiet. Some said nothing. Others claimed it was just an accident. One alien ambassador even suggested the humans had made a mistake. But the footage from the pod told the truth, and Earth never forgot the truth. This was not over. Not by a long shot. The escape pod's black box was damaged, but Earth's best engineers worked day and night to fix it. Everyone hoped for answers. They needed to know who attacked the peace mission. 3 days later, the data was ready. Inside a secure room, top human leaders gathered: generals, scientists, and government officials. A large screen in front of them blinked to life. The room became silent. No one moved. They were about to see the truth. The video started. It showed Hopebringer, the lead ship, moving calmly through space. Its lights were bright. Crew voices came through the radio. Everyone looked relaxed. Some were even laughing. Then something changed. On the edge of the screen, 3 dark shapes appeared. They came fast, like shadows cutting through space. Unidentified ships, 10 kilometers out, said a voice from the bridge. "Send greetings. Let them know we're a peace convoy," Commander Tessa said. The screen shook. The first blast hit without warning. Screams filled the audio. Fire tore through the back of the ship. Crew members ran. Someone yelled, "We're not armed. We're a rescue ship." But the enemy didn't stop. More shots, more fire. One by one, the convoy ships were destroyed. Explosions lit up the screen like falling stars. In the final moments, Tessa's face came into view. Her voice was steady, even as alarms screamed. "If anyone finds this, we were peaceful. We were helping. Remember that." Then the screen turned black. No one in the room spoke. Some had tears in their eyes. Even the old war generals looked shocked. The silence was heavy. General Marcus Rain stood up slowly. He turned to the others. This was not a mistake. This was murder. Later that day, Earth called for an emergency meeting with the Galactic Council. All major alien governments were present. The meeting room was wide and full of lights, floating chairs, and holograms. Earth's team entered quietly, wearing black. The alien leaders looked nervous. Whispers filled the air. "We received the footage," said a blue-skinned ambassador. But many still doubted. Earth's representative, Ambassador Elaine Voss, stepped forward. She placed a small device on the table. The video began again. The entire room watched in silence. No one could deny what they saw. One alien leader tried to speak. "This may have been pirates, not a government act." Another added, "It is not clear who the attackers were." Elaine's voice cut through the room like cold steel. "They used high-grade warships. Pirates don't fly those." Still, no one took responsibility. No alien race stood up. No one said, "We did it." They were all afraid. After the meeting, Earth's team returned to their ship. Inside, General Rain waited. He had seen enough. He looked at the council report. It said, "No action recommended. Investigation continues." He threw the report on the table. They saw everything. They know the truth. And still they do nothing. "What now, sir?" a young officer asked. Rain's face was calm. "We act." Back on Earth, the people were angry. Protests began in cities. People held signs that said, "They fired first, and peace is not weakness." Families of the lost crew demanded justice. One mother stood in front of the cameras holding a photo of her daughter, a nurse on Hopebringer. Her voice shook as she spoke. "My child went to help the galaxy. She never came back. If we don't speak now, others will die too." The video spread fast. Billions watched it across planets. Earth's leaders had seen enough. Words had failed. Now it was time to show what silence could do. In a high-level meeting, General Rain made his decision. "Target the systems we know help the attackers," he said. "But the Council will object," someone replied. "They already did," Rain answered. "They objected to justice." That night, human ships left their stations. But they didn't fly with sirens or flags. They used stealth tech, quiet, invisible, and fast. The galaxy didn't know it yet. But Earth was already at war. And this time, they wouldn't wait for permission. While the Galactic Council debated and argued, Earth acted. Human warships, once parked in orbit or patrolling peacefully, were now gone. They didn't fly in groups. They didn't announce their missions. These ships moved like shadows, hidden by Earth's best stealth systems. Each ship had a clear mission: Find who was behind the attack and strike. Captain Jalen Ward stood on the bridge of the stealth cruiser Vigil. His crew sat quietly, watching screens and waiting for orders. Jalen was known for his calm mind and cold focus, but this mission was different. "Any sign of movement in Sector 9?" he asked. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Rios, replied, "Yes, sir. Patrol patterns match one of the factions we suspect. They're guarding something." Jalen looked at the data. Coordinates matched a secret base. It was hidden on a moon with no name, deep in neutral space. He gave one simple order: prepare to drop in. On the moon, no one expected visitors. Alien guards stood outside the base, relaxed. Their weapons were powered down. To them, it was just another boring post. They believed Earth wouldn't come. Then the sky split open. Without warning, beams of blue light hit the ground. The human strike team dropped from orbit, silent and deadly. They moved fast, wearing black armor, weapons ready. The guards tried to raise the alarm, but it was already too late. One by one, the base's systems failed. Lights went out. Doors sealed. Communications died. Inside, the alien commander shouted orders. "We are under attack. Call for help." But the call never went through. Seconds later, the humans breached the walls. The gunfire was short, precise, clean. In under 4 minutes, the base was under Earth's control. Jelen walked through the halls, stepping over broken weapons and stunned aliens. He stopped at the command center. There, he found what he came for: a data core. It had logs, ship movements, communications, and battle plans. He plugged in a data spike. The screen showed it clearly. The attack on Hopebringer had been planned weeks before the peace mission. It wasn't pirates. It wasn't an accident. It was a government-backed ambush. Proof in hand, Jalen spoke to his ship. Data secured. Begin extraction. No survivors. On Earth, the data spread like wildfire. News anchors read the files live. The ones who claimed innocence were the ones who sent the ships, one report said. Public anger turned into fire. The Galactic Council was forced to meet again, but this time, Earth didn't wait for permission. They showed the galaxy what justice looked like, human style. More strikes followed. One human cruiser slipped past enemy sensors and disabled a weapons factory without firing a shot. Another used electronic warfare to shut down a military outpost before landing troops. Each time, Earth left a message. You killed peace. We bring justice. Alien races watched with growing fear. They had always seen humans as emotional, soft-hearted, helpful. But now they saw something else. They saw the part of humanity that didn't speak, the part that moved silently when pushed too far. In the shadows, a few alien leaders met in secret. "We cannot stop them," said one, a tall figure with glowing eyes. "They strike like ghosts." "They know who attacked them," another whispered. "We didn't think they'd find out." A third alien looked at the floor. "They're not just fighting back, they're hunting." Meanwhile, back on Earth, General Marcus Rain stood at a large screen showing the targets hit so far. He didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. He simply said, "We gave them a chance." A young officer beside him asked, "Sir, how far will we go?" Rain looked out the window toward the stars. "As far as we must," he replied. The galaxy had pushed Earth too far. They ignored the truth. They let peace be murdered in silence. And now, Earth answered. Without saying a single word, the attack stopped. No more human ships were seen in enemy space. No more bases were taken. It was quiet now. Too quiet. The Galactic Council didn't know what to think. Some believed Earth had finished its revenge. Others feared something worse, that the silence meant Earth was preparing something far bigger. But one thing was clear. Everyone was afraid. And then, Earth sent a message. Not just to the Council. To every planet, every government, every species that had watched and stayed silent. The message was simple. A single video. It began with the footage of Hopebringer, the peaceful ship burning in space, the screams, the cries, the last words of Commander Tessa. Then it showed Earth's quiet strikes, bases destroyed, weapons silenced, enemies fleeing. And finally, Ambassador Elaine Voss appeared on screen. She stood in front of the United Nations flag, her voice calm, clear, and cold. "We came in peace. We offered help. You responded with fire. We asked for justice. You gave us silence. So we gave you ours. The kind that moves without sound. The kind that strikes without warning. The kind that ends wars before they begin." The screen went black. Then white letters appeared. "Earth will never fire first, but we will always be the last to fall." The reaction across the galaxy was instant. Crowds gathered in alien cities, watching the video on giant screens. Some clapped. Some wept. Some just stood in shock. For years, many had looked down on Earth, calling humans too emotional, too soft. Now they saw the truth. Humanity wasn't weak. They were patient. But when pushed, they were unstoppable. On the Council world, leaders from a dozen species met in panic. "They will not stop," said one ambassador. "They have proof. They have power. And now the people support them." "We must offer peace again," said another. "We must do it on their terms." "But how?" a third asked. "They do not trust us anymore." No one had an answer. Until Earth sent one more message. A new envoy would come. Not with weapons, not with warships, but with something far more terrifying. A human diplomat. Elaine Voss. She arrived alone. No guards, no soldiers, just her. As she walked into the council chamber, every eye followed her. She placed a simple silver box on the table. "This," she said, "is all that's left from Hopebringer. A piece of the hull. Burned, torn, silent." The room was quiet. She looked at them all. "We do not want to rule. We do not want to conquer. But if you touch our people again, if you ever fire on peace again, then silence will fall on your worlds, and it will never rise again." No one argued. No one dared. Because every leader in that room remembered what had happened when Earth was quiet. Back on Earth, the names of the lost crew were carved into a wall of light, each name glowing under the stars. Families visited. Children left flowers. Soldiers saluted. A girl stood in front of her brother's name. He had been a medic on the ship. She whispered, "They know now." Behind her, the Earth flag waved gently in the wind. The galaxy had changed. Not because Earth had spoken, but because, when pushed to the edge, Earth answered without a word, and that silence was louder than any war. Years passed. The galaxy slowly returned to peace, but it was a different peace now. One built on respect and fear. No one forgot the day Hopebringer was attacked, and no one forgot how Earth responded, with no warning, no mercy, and no speeches. Just actions. On the edge of space, a young alien officer looked at a new ship approaching their checkpoint. It was human-made. Sleek, silent, cold metal shining under distant stars. The officer's hands shook slightly. "Should we hail them?" his partner asked. The officer swallowed and replied, "No need. If they're here, they already know everything about us." They let the ship pass without a word. In the Galactic Council, things had changed too. New laws protected peace missions. A new rule was created, the Earth Clause. Any attack on a peaceful human vessel will be considered an attack on all of humanity, and Earth will respond however it chooses. Everyone agreed to it, not because they wanted to, but because they had seen what silence could do. On Earth, the memorial to Hopebringer became a sacred place. People came from every planet to see it. They stood in front of the names and whispered stories about how one peaceful ship changed the course of history. Not because it fought, but because its death woke something terrible and powerful in humanity. Inside a quiet classroom on Mars, a child raised his hand. "Teacher," he asked, "why did Earth not shout? Why didn't we scream when they attacked us?" The teacher smiled gently. "We didn't need to," she said. "We let our silence do the screaming." The children sat quietly, thinking. One of them wrote a single line in her notebook. "Fear the silence of Earth. It always comes before the storm." Across the stars, a legend had been born. A legend not of guns or battleships, but of a people who loved peace so deeply they became the galaxy's most dangerous enemy when peace was broken. And that legend had one name: humanity. Decades later, a new generation had grown up in a galaxy shaped by that one terrible day. They called it the Silent War. It had no official name in Earth's history books. No long battles, no famous generals, but its effect was everywhere. On a space station orbiting a neutral world, a museum was built. Inside, visitors could walk through the story of Hopebringer, the peaceful ship, the betrayal, the revenge. In one corner of the museum was a dark room. It held nothing but a single video screen. A sign above it read, "Listen closely." When the video played, it showed Earth's response. No sound, just images of destruction. Human warships flying like ghosts. Enemy bases blinking off the map. No warnings, no music, just silence. Visitors often left the room in tears. One day, a young alien cadet named Sarah visited the museum. Her people had once laughed at Earth. Now they taught Earth's history in schools. Sarah stood in front of the screen for a long time. When it ended, she turned to her mentor. "Do you think they'd do it again?" she asked. Her mentor nodded. "If they had to," he said softly, "yes, and no one would stop them this time." Back on Earth, old soldiers gathered each year at the Hopebringer Memorial. Not to celebrate, not to mourn, but to remember. General Rain, now retired, his hair gray, stood before a crowd of students. He said only one thing: "We didn't want war. But when war came, we didn't run. We walked into the fire, so others wouldn't have to." In orbit, a new Earth fleet patrolled the edge of human space. Its ships bore no bright colors, no banners. Just a single symbol on their hulls. A broken olive branch with fire behind it. The galaxy understood its meaning now. Peace offered. Peace refused. Then silence. And in quiet corners of alien space, whispers spread. About Earth's old warning. They don't shout. They don't boast. But when they move, you'll never forget it. And so, even after all these years, even after the warships were docked, even after peace returned, the stars remembered the lesson that could never be unlearned. Do not mistake human silence for weakness. It is the calm before the galaxy ends. Years turned into centuries. The Hopebringer was long gone, its ashes scattered across the void of space. Yet its story continued to shape the future. The galaxy had never been the same. The Silent War, Earth's response, and the legend that followed echoed through time. Aboard a Galactic Council ship, an officer stood at the window, looking out into the stars. Its reflection was faint, but the weight of history was heavy on his shoulders. He thought of his father, who had fought in the war, at the Silent War, as they called it. His father had told him stories not of battles or glory, but of the moments that truly scared him. It wasn't the warships. It wasn't the attacks. It was the silence, the calm before Earth moved. In the council chamber, Earth's representatives sat alone. For years, humans had stayed out of most galactic politics. They focused on their worlds, their people, their resources. They had the respect of the stars, and that was enough. But every time a new decision was made, a glance was cast at Earth's seat, not with anger. With respect, fear. There had been no war since Hopebringer's attack, but the legend still loomed over the council like a shadow. There were rumors, whispers that if humanity ever decided to act again, the entire galaxy would bend to its will. On a quiet colony near the edge of the galaxy, a young woman named Lyra stared at the stars. She had heard the stories all her life, passed down from her grandparents. Her eyes studied the distance. The galaxy was vast, the stars cold and indifferent. But Earth had shown the universe something different. Earth had shown that even in the darkest moments, a single act of silence could change the fate of everything. And Lyra knew deep down that Earth would never be forgotten. In the heart of Earth's capital, an old statue stood in the center of the city. It was simple. A soldier holding nothing but a broken olive branch. The inscription read, "Peace is not given. It is earned, and never forgotten." Far away in the void of space, the sound of an engine starting echoed through the dark. A lone human ship moved silently across the stars. No weapons, no shields. Just a crew of explorers seeking new worlds. And yet, as it passed through the galaxy, an old truth remained. Wherever Earth went, the silence of their warning went with them. And so the galaxy continued. But there was always a question in the back of everyone's mind. Would Earth ever rise again? The answer was simple. They never fell. The stars were quiet. The galaxy was peaceful for now. But there was something everyone knew. When Earth moved, silence was the loudest sound of all.